Well, what I would do is I would just get 2 like fake mustaches, and I would just put that.
I'm gonna bring some fake mustaches for you.
I'd want them to twirl up. Have you ever seen? I've been jealous. I've seen.
Dude, I've been waiting.
Eyebrows.
I've been waiting for the wings.
Where they've been waxing it.
Yeah.
Up.
I remember a guy.
Do that?
Swanson. Remember like.
Us.
You remember?
What?
Do you remember them? The Swanson sisters.
Yeah, I remember.
Their
them.
dad. He had these fucking eyebrows that like.
He waxed them. He twirled them up.
I sure as hell looked like he did. They were something.
Really?
Like they looked like if you batted your eyes too fast, you'd take off. They're fucking wings.
I just think it's like a boss move for eyebrows. Gosh, I just can't wait till the day.
I'll bring you in a fake mustache.
Why don't you just give me some of your hair, bro? You should donate your hair. You stop.
There's a lot of people.
You stop
in need
being
out
so
there.
selfish, man.
There's a lot of people in need out there.
Yeah, you have all this hair, and what do you do with it? Like, where's it go? It's just like all over your fucking
manage it.
house.
Yeah.
You're like.
Though the benefit of having like 3
Are
dogs.
you hypoallergenic?
Is you don't.
Tell me that at least.
I believe
fucking,
I'm
like,
hypoallergenic. I mean, Rachel's got to take her.
She's just like sneezing around the house.
Yeah, she's walking around. She needs to take her fucking
Yeah.
Aleve all the time. Or
Jeez.
not Aleve, what is it?
Why are you asking me what she takes?
Claritin?
Claritin? Oh, because the allergies?
Yeah.
They've been strong here in the Napa Valley.
They have.
If you haven't been here, but if you've been here,
It's been a weird year. I was actually just talking to Mickey about it this morning. It's like, dude, it's so cold. Like, why?
Yeah.
And then he's like, that's funny because he lives up in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
He's like, it's been like unseasonably warm like all spring. It's like, And you look at the coast, and the coasts have been cold, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
Like, we're not like 40 degrees here, but dude, Bottle Rock was not a very nice weekend for Bottle Rock. I mean, it was still good.
It was supposed to rain. It was supposed to thunderstorm on the last day, and it didn't.
But I actually preferred it like the way that it was, like a little overcast, a little cool. Because when you're out there in the sun and it's like 95 degrees, it's just you're baking, and then you're drinking, and then people get sloppy, make bad decisions, and just it's a shit show. It was good.
Yeah. There was a lot of people there, but I want to say like the performances.
Yeah,
I thought every performance I saw was like
I think they're doing better and better. Like the management of that, they're doing better. I do want to talk more about Bottle Rock, but
what are you trying to do an intro right now?
First, we got to do an intro, and I want to talk about spirits.
Okay.
Not the Holy Spirit. Not the Holy Spirit. No.
Why are you being so bossy today?
Because I woke up on the right side of the bed.
I know. Look at you, dude. Are you not hungover today?
I'm not hungover today.
Can we get some lights up in the house? Where's the flashing shit on that? These guys. Joe is not hungover today. Wow, dude. This is going to be an interesting podcast. Dude,
yeah, this might be the first. This might be the first.
I don't know. This one might be kind of boring, though. Because usually when he's like, oh, hungover, you get like spicy.
You know what else I've been taking is Lion's Mane supplements. It's like a mushroom.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, hold on. Let's intro. Art, if you get a chance, can you bring up Lion's Mane? Lion's Mane.
Lion's Mane. Spelled like a lion. Lions. Mane.
L-I-U? Okay.
Oh, the N is silent. The N is silent, like Pan.
If you've just managed to hang on to listen right now, I just want to say welcome to Go With Your Palate.
Welcome once again. I am Joe Wagner, and we got Chris Fat Rubio with me, and we're going to talk about wine.
Joe Wagner, 5th generation TikToker. Wait, no. Winemaker.
I hope it's not around for that long. Jesus, yeah.
Winemaker, yeah. This is where we talk about wine, entrepreneurship, and whatever the fuck else. And usually it's like a lot of. Like,
it seems to like we always start pretty strong with the whatever the fuck else.
Yeah, we do.
Well, that's because they start
turn on the camera.
They start recording.
They don't tell us.
And we're just here bullshitting. We've already gone through our agenda and what we might get through, and then like all of a sudden it turns into like now we're talking about lion's mane. So, first of all, lion's mane is a fungi. It is a mushroom that is actually really pretty. I've actually grown this in my house before, and you can like eat it like literally like a steak. Like you get like a fat, like thick, like it's all connected.
Yeah.
I mean, except for the like little hairs on the outside, but those are edible too. But it's got like these, medical benefits as far as like focus and whatever else.
Yeah, that's why I was saying. Can you look at just like the benefits? Because I was curious about why. Like, because you know what? I take stuff with it in it, but I'm just gonna tell you. I just knew it was good. I mean, I was just hearing that it was good for you, but I didn't really know what it does.
So I actually, I
Do you ever do that?
I believe in the strength of mushrooms. I do like people, people talk about it, and like I think it will be legalized at some point in our lifetime. Probably not even that long, like the next couple years.
Yeah.
Because they're actually doing studies where like they're able to prove that you can kind of rewire parts of the brain with the use of mushrooms along with therapy.
Oh yeah.
Is usually how it is. But overall, like there's a whole bunch of other benefits, right? So like lion's mane here. What do we got? Let's get some doctor.
Well, it helps with
jargon.
anxiety and depression. It protects against ulcers. So digestive tract. Reduces risk of heart disease. It also said it helps, like, I guess, with the prevention of dementia.
Yep. Yeah. But dude, I'm not kidding. Since I started taking it, like, I feel like I'm like more on fire, like mentally. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So yeah, are you just taking like a pure? Are you just taking?
It's just like
are you taking like a blend of like?
It's a blend,
stuff?
but it's predominantly lion's mane, and then it's got a couple other like little additions to it, I guess. So like I'm basically microdosing all the time. I'm kidding.
Well,
it's not like that.
No, but that's I've been seeing a lot of that too. I think everyone's just getting their microdosing down.
But it's like you got to stay consistent with it. So you take it like you can do once a day or like twice a day, but like stay consistent with it. And it does work. Anyways, pretty cool. So that's what we're starting with.
Yeah, lion's mane.
Lion's mane.
So you're saying to take it. How long have you been taking it?
Only like a week.
And you feel good.
I feel good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then you just did a plug for that.
I know. I should probably invest in something that has to do with lion's mane, mushrooms, and shit.
Dude, have you? What about I just want to say because you brought up lion's mane. See, this is the thing. You bring up these things. Art, if you don't mind, have you tried? Okay, I hope like I don't butcher the name. You'll probably know because you're fucking like so smart. Ashwaganda. Ashwaganda. I got it.
Yeah. No, you almost had it. No, you got it. You mean you have it?
No, I mean I got it right. The way I said
Ashwaganda.
it. Ashwaganda. That's what I said.
Ashwaganda?
Asha. No, it's ashwaganda.
See, there's no after
I know,
the
so
sh.
don't do that next time. Okay, so
So are you taking ashwagandha?
Yeah.
And?
Tea. Oh, I like it. I mean, I have to say, I think I have to. I just started doing it, so but I take a tea with it, and it's nice for. I mean, for me, I was taking it kind of like for like stress relief and just like feeling good. I think it has like a ton more benefits than that.
Yeah.
Because I think it also helps with like workouts and stuff, like for fitness.
So I'm gonna go like
light workouts, huh?
I said with workouts. Did I say light
energy,
workouts?
sex drive, and calm. There you go.
Oh,
it's funny because
energy,
two of those
okay.
things don't really
well,
go
I didn't
together.
see that, Art.
Hi,
Okay.
I'm Dr. Howard.
Okay. Well,
All right, so here's the funny thing, right?
Well, that's not a light workout, though. Bro.
Is that we're all
I
like,
don't know how you roll.
we're all being convinced by the pharmaceutical companies that like you have to take these other drugs that they control to get these benefits. When in reality, there's a lot of like natural substances that can help with these things. So, did you know like we're one of only 2 countries? I don't know if we talked about this before. We're one of only 2 countries in the world that allow advertisements for pharmaceuticals.
Really? What's the other one?
I think it's New Zealand.
Shut up.
And so, and think about where you have these issues of people being so dependent upon the big pharma drugs that are available, right? And then all the incentives and everything, they go down to the doctors. And so it's like, yeah, I want a trip to Tahiti. So, yeah, I'm going to keep on pushing this fucking product on all my patients. And it's pretty messed up.
That's, yeah.
And
I mean,
then they keep on advertising. Dude, look, like if you watch like regular TV in like a hotel room, like regular ass cable.
Yeah.
Or whatever they call it now.
There's always something.
Dude, there's like 2 out of 5 commercials are pharmaceutical stuff.
Yeah.
That tells you one thing. They got a huge budget for marketing because they're making money hand over fist.
Budget. They got so much fucking money, bro.
Dude, it's like they're just
They
throwing
have
it
so
away.
much money.
And then I love the end. It's like, you may suffer from and you can't understand anything they say.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, but I think that there are a lot of these things like ashwagandha.
And they come out with the hits, dude. Like, have you heard what? Oh, dude, nothing means everything.
Oh, they make their own fucking tracks.
Yeah, and then like this songs like get in your head, like they're just because they have like professional. Just I think they're just up in the studio, like up in here. They're just trying to lay those. Can you believe it? If you was able to lay the next track for like the next big drug or whatever, it's just like.
I'm just saying, like they got to get somebody like edgy, like get like Lil Nas X to do like a Cialis or Viagra commercial, and just. Imagine the fucking bars that he would be spitting.
Or they could just do like a remix or it was just like, get up, stand up, fight for your rights.
National trends in per capita pharmaceutical spending, 1980 to 2015. Let's see. Wow. Okay. We got a big discrepancy there between the United States and everyone else. Art, can you go back up to that where are we at? With that, I'm assuming that's in billions. So that is in billions, yeah. So that is $1.01 billion. The next one down is, surprisingly, Switzerland at $783 million. Let's go down to the bottom one. Who's the lowest spender there? $351 billion in Sweden. So what is spending? I mean, that's like, is that purely marketing or is that like just incentives and all that stuff too?
Yeah, and I think.
Anyways, what I'm saying is don't trust these big companies. They want to get you, hooked.
Yeah.
And then keep on raking in the benefits.
How did we get to a point though where they can actually just like. Because for so long, it's been the running joke, right? So a lot of these new drugs that come up is the side effects,
Yeah.
So you'll be like watching these commercials, and they'll just be like, "The side effects are extreme, like explosive diarrhea." Like you
consult your doctor.
It always ends with anal bleeding.
You get anal. Oh, remember? Oh,
consult
dude,
your
don't
doctor
even get
if you
me started on
experience
WOW
any-
chips. Can we? Don't get me on that tangent. But remember WOW chips?
I don't even know what a WOW chip is.
Ugh. They came out, Lay's had them, and it's just big letters. Wow. I know Chad knows what I'm talking about.
And
You
what
been
did
through the
what did
experience?
they promise?
Olestra.
What was the promise of the WOW?
They came out because they had like zero fat, zero everything. Like it was just like, whoa. And they tasted amazing. So I heard.
Olestra, it was a
Olestra,
fat
thank you.
substitute.
Thank you. Olestra.
Wait, what do you mean? Olestra, what is that, an additive?
Yes. That gives you like anal bleeding and like
What?
blows out your butthole.
I'm glad I never ate these.
Wait. Let's see if it says it. It will probably say that the way I just said it in technical terms.
Anal leakage.
Anal leakage.
There you go. Abdominal cramping, diarrhea, fecal incontinence, and anal leakage. Wow.
You just said it.
Wow.
Wow, that's what they said. They made it. They're like, wow.
They fucking nailed it.
They fucking nailed it.
Good marketing right there.
Like, but my whole thing is that you had like people that were like trying to lose weight, like going to Mexico, trying to get some worm put in their stomach. All they got to do is like get on these WOW chips.
Okay, but look at this. Okay, so I'm just going to give the quick timeline here. They were first introduced in 1998, okay?
Yeah.
They were not discontinued until almost 20 years later in 2016.
Yeah.
Dude, when you
Point.
you pose a problem to society when people are walking around with anal leakage because they're eating your fucking chips. Like, where was the FDA? Like, where they didn't come in and be like, yeah, we should probably stop you from making these because, people are shitting on the streets. It's like, well, welcome to San Francisco every fucking day.
But like, yeah, maybe there was some fans though of like that. They're like, wow, I get to eat these great tasting chips, lose weight.
Maybe that's how you lost weight.
I just have to wear adult diapers.
Maybe that's how you lost weight.
Maybe that's how I lost weight?
No, just how you lost weight back then. It was like, I'll deal with the explosive diarrhea as long as I don't absorb any calories. That's it. That's the plan, dude. That's it. It's like people dieting on like diuretics or what? Like what are the laxatives, right?
Laxatives.
People use that as a diet. I'm like that sounds horrible. Like when you walk around with a fucking shaved asshole all the time, like that's got to be really unpleasant.
Yeah, I like how you said shaved asshole because you're
chafed.
Thinking,
Not shaved, chafed.
Oh, chafed. Oh.
Yeah.
But you should you do shave your asshole though.
No, I don't shave.
Oh, that's right. You wax.
Yeah, I get it waxed.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad we clarified that. Okay, Ching.
Dude, I like everything clean,
I
okay?
thought you were
That's
like
it. I like
speaking on
everything
behalf
clean.
of all the hairy people, and you were just like, dude, like protect, just have it a smooth.
You don't, dude.
Exit.
You don't want to
If you're
shave
gonna-
because I think it's all stubbly, and then it's like, then it's working against,
Yeah.
what you want. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can't imagine like what it was like for you back in the day when you just thought like toilet paper, Must have been fucking crazy for you. Just, snowflakes.
Steep learning curve.
Okay, sorry.
There's a steep learning curve.
We're losing art. Okay, let's get back.
All right, we're getting back to.
He's like, I can't.
Sorry, Art.
Let's
You
try
didn't
it.
know.
Sorry, I was getting visuals and it was
All right.
not pretty.
You didn't know what the
Welcome
fuck
to
else
Go
was
With Your
going on.
Palate. Wait.
All right. So now,
let's get it.
what are we starting with? On the
Okay.
spirits?
Yes.
All right.
We are starting on the spirits. Yes. So let's just get into it right now. Whiskey versus bourbon versus rye. We are now in the business of spirits. This is your expertise. I mean, let's just get into it. Tell
Well,
me first of all.
bourbon and rye are both whiskeys.
Yes.
So you got all these categories, and I like the categories
Yeah.
because they all kind of stand for something, right? So we're doing a rye, a bourbon, and a single malt whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
So and there are differences between the two. Like simplest form of it, starting with like bourbon, you're gonna need over 50% or 51% or more of a corn mash. Rye, same thing, over a 51% mash of rye. And then from that point, you can like do whatever you want. So, depending on what rye you use, like we're using a native ryegrass from here in California called Merced rye. And then we use like a red winter wheat and then 2-row barley. And that kind of rounds it off.
Fancy.
Bourbon, we use that same winter wheat, and then we use a red corn that was sourced out of Kentucky. We grow here now. So that's predominantly what the mash bill is. And then also 2-row barley. So it all depends like how much sweetness you want to come through, how much like earthiness do you want to have in your rye, that kind of stuff, and that kind of determines your mash bill. So it's just kind of around, like built around messing around, trying things, tasting it, and be like, I like this one or whatever.
Yeah.
Single malts are just that. They're like a single malt, and it doesn't need to be like 100% like smoked. So we say it's a applewood smoked single malt. Well, there's just a small percentage of all that single malt barley that was actually smoked over applewood, and so we didn't want to go like super smoky. Like you've tasted those whiskeys, like those like very traditional like Scotch, which like
Yeah.
it smells like burned rubber, like Band-Aids, like just
Gunsmoke.
overly smoky. And like I can't get into that. I know that's like an acquired taste, but I think from my winemaking background, I always learned that smokiness is actually a flaw because you have smoke taint if you have wildfires, right? And so you actually taste that, smell it. And so I grew accustomed to being like, that's a horrible thing. Like we got a problem with that wine. And now if I smell a Scotch that's got like this overly smoky character, same thing with mezcal. I just can't do it. So I try to appreciate them, but still like I always feel like it just negative, internalized as a negative. So for us, it was just like a light smokiness, which kind of comes across as, a little nuance in there. So every one of them's a little, unique in its own right. But I think the barrel program is like what is really cool about the spirits, right? So here's another funny fact. So you go to like spirits tastings and people are like talking to producers.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, it's 100% charred new American oak. They're like, you guys ever thought about using a different kind of oak? They're like, oh no, it has to be American. We're like, no, actually, to make bourbon, it does not need to be 100% charred new American oak. It could be oak from anywhere. It has to be 100% new charred. But we started making like our own hybrid barrels of a mix of American and French.
Yeah.
And it turned out like phenomenally well. So much more like subtle. It's a little more spirit forward. You get a little more like the sweet tones coming out of the French oak, like vanillin and that sort of thing. And it's just like turned into like a big part of our program. And it was something we first experimented with on wine, and then it moved over into the spirits like just beautifully. So you can see they're a little like, they're very dark spirits.
So, okay, so that's what I also want to touch on too with so bourbon, right? The only thing is the 51% corn.
51% corn and 2 years in a new charred oak barrel.
Okay.
Those are really like that's like the core of. You want to call it bourbon? It's got to like those are the two main qualifiers.
Because there used to be I remember hearing like back in the day that from different people that it had to be from Kentucky to be bourbon.
Yeah.
And this is like something I wanted to end right here, right now. That'd be good too because that's still I feel like going.
If you want to call it Kentucky bourbon, well, it's got to be from Kentucky.
But it was kind of like this thought, right? That it was almost kind of creating like what you would do with Burgundy or champagne, or like there was like this certain area, like where you could get that name. So it's good.
Like tequila can only come from tequila.
Yes.
Yeah. I understand why people made that assumption.
Yes.
But now you've got I bet you every single state has a spirit producer making bourbon.
Yeah.
Like every single state.
Well, yeah, because that's what's doing really well right now. I feel like it blew up, and now you have other things like going up. But that's been on fire. It's really just because of like the craft cocktails. I think that was a big thing to it with mixology and the move to that.
Well, and I think people went from I remember growing up and it was all about the clear spirits, right? Like brown spirits were not cool. That's what your grandpa drank.
Yeah.
And it was like it was basically what was your mixer? What were you going to put into that vodka to make it taste like something you're going to enjoy?
Yeah.
And then people's palates continued to evolve and they're like, oh, they like this. They like tasting the spirit. And then you started this whole trend of these bartenders and mixologists making spirit forward cocktails.
Yeah.
Brought back the Manhattan.
Yeah.
The paper plane. The old fashioned.
Yeah.
I still think the old fashioned is that adulterates the spirit too much. If it's done right, you got to use the right cherries. You can't use just regular maraschino.
Well, you're not supposed. Okay,
you're overly sweetening.
I don't want to get, but if you're gonna get someone that's gonna be mushing in the orange and the cherries and not using really, I think it's just you got your sugar cube, you just douse that in the bitters, and then that's what you're muddling in with your spirit.
Yeah,
and then then you can get some of that orange zest, just the zest though.
Yeah.
But not really mashing in any fruit into that, and then have some of the garnish for the Luxardo cherries.
So yeah,
what do you think?
I think that's good. I'd even go a step further though. I'd pull the sugar out, and then do candied orange peels.
Okay.
And then do Luxardo, a couple Luxardo cherries in there. Your bitters, mash that up.
Okay.
And then just whiskey. So you're it's not overly sweet. It's not overly juiced up by a muddled orange and maraschino cherry. The Luxardos are pretty dry for for what they are.
Yeah.
But they're pretty sweet. You don't want to use too many. Yeah.
What?
Don't dump a sugar packet in the glass.
Sugar is one of the
Yeah. See, it's just it all depends on what your preference is, and that's always the issue when you get a cocktail, right? What do you want? I remember I knew this guy who loved his Italian highballs, 7 and 7, right? And so, but he liked them strong. And so he'd go into a restaurant and be like, I'll take a 7 and 7, but I'm allergic to 7-Up, so just a little tiny splash on the top.
You talking about my dad?
That was his dad. I've never forgotten that. Forever I was like, God, Chris's dad's allergic to 7-Up? And then I found out later, I was like, oh no, he just liked his drink strong. That was,
Well, it was just today before we started. You're get a whiff of that. That's going to make the hair stand up on your back or whatever.
Yeah, well, then your dad.
First of all, I don't have hair on my back, but I will also tell you that smelling this is nostalgic for me. It's like growing up. I'm like, oh, hey, Dad.
Oh man, so yeah, but yeah, so I think it's cool that people are going for more spirit forward. Now, are people when they're drinking our whiskeys, are they going preference with just a rock? Do they prefer it with a cold stone so there's no dilution? Do they prefer it neat? I'd go single malt. You can go neat. I always think more brandy is going neat, right? I always think of whiskey, single malt. I think you can get away with it, but I prefer it on a rock. And then the bourbon and rye. Then it just comes down to how hot do you like it? If you're up at 50% or you're doing barrel proof, you probably want something to tone that down a little bit, because if you just put a cold stone in there to keep it cool, dude, you're drinking some fire water. I don't even think you could taste it. That's it's just gonna burn your mouth. So all comes down to the situation, the product.
Yeah, the product and how you make it. So what what made you want to jump into spirits? I mean, and to do and with specifically bourbon, whiskey, and rye. Like,
well, the bourbon, whiskey, and rye came like after we had already started doing spirits.
Yeah.
So the reason we started doing spirits was to like make a brandy, an apple brandy specifically.
Okay.
And that's kind of where it all began, where we have a property over there in Russian River called Dairyman. It's a vineyard for Belle Glos. And then we had this plan to like build the old dairy out that's on the property into like a winery and hospitality center. And so what we were going to do is take the historical components of Sonoma's ag, which is, currently grapes and wine. But in the past, like, it was a huge apple producer. It still is a big apple producer.
Yeah.
And then you have dairy. And the dairy industry has been, like, dwindling away slowly because, land prices are shooting up and regulations are popping up and whatever else. So people are like, well, fuck this. I'm going out of state or whatever. But trying to maintain some of those pieces that, like, really built Sonoma, right? And so it's like, well, okay, we designed, like, a creamery into it. And I was like, okay, for the apples... Like, I don't want to make apple cider or applesauce. Like, those aren't cool. And I've always loved Calvados.
Like, dude, I don't want to make applesauce.
It's like, dude,
that ain't cool, man.
Imagine you walk up to a winery and they're like, I hope you like the Sauvignon Blanc. Would you like some applesauce?
I don't want to get in the treetop gang. No way.
And so we were like apple brandy, like Calvados style, like old school. And so we started like picking some apples, like the Gravensteins, which are like the heirloom variety of Sonoma, some like Golden Delicious, tried other varieties too. And then we bring them to the winery, press them, ferment them with champagne yeast, go through ML fermentation. And then we had a friend out in Modesto who was just starting his distillery. And we were like, can you do some custom runs for us and like see what we like? So we started this experimentation like in 2013 or so. And that launched us into it to a point where we're like, okay, we're just going to sit on this stuff and we're going to produce more. We started like investing in the distillery, putting, better and bigger equipment in. And then, we were like, well, now that we're doing apple brandy, why don't we just try brandy? So we took some of our wines that were like, leftovers from a blend or whatever, ran them through the still, started making brandy. And then we were like, well, why don't we try our own mash bills? And so started growing some grain and whatever else and started making bourbon and then rye. And then we sat on it for like 5, 6, 7, going on like 9 years now. But we released our first products that are like 4 to 5 years old.
Yeah.
And then everything else will be held on for like longer aging. But it was, so that's just kind of how we got into it. It was just, tinkering with stuff. And it's like, once you have like a winery set up, you're going to be like, well, I've always wanted to try to play with like Charbonneau, like a variety that's kind of obscure.
Yeah.
So you might go out and like just before you plant any, you might go out and like find somebody that's growing and be like, hey, can I buy a couple tons of Charbonneau? Bring it in, do your special little like lot and see, how you feel with it. You making good wine? What do you need to adjust? And then do you want to get into it for like the long term? And so that's kind of where, but you've already got the infrastructure. So once you got the infrastructure, screw around. I mean, dude, we're making like, we've made rum, like blackstrap molasses rum, and it's just sitting in barrel.
So there might be some rum on the way.
There's not that much of it, but we made a little bit. And it's like, honestly, this is the funny thing about spirits is like the longer it ages, typically the better, right?
Yeah.
Wine is like, there's definitely a cap for each wine.
Yeah.
Like where it goes overaged and kind of gets like just like flat and flabby, over oaked and whatever. And spirits, it just kind of keeps on going. So like the rum was absolute trash. Like tasted horrible. It was all like, had all these fuely characters and everything. I was like, God damn, this is nasty. Like, we're going to put this in a barrel. And that was just the clear product, right? So put it in barrel, and like over the course of, that stuff's got to be like 6 years old now. Over the course of years, like you go through and every once in a while you pop that barrel open, smell it, and it's gotten better and better. Like all those off aromas are like blowing off and whatever. So I don't know. Yeah, we might do a little rum, but.
So with that, like, do you have some bourbon, rye, whiskey, some stuff that you're already in barrel that you're holding on to that you're gonna really looking forward to aging for a really long time, and then
really long time. I'm gonna
what's
go
like a really like
I'm gonna go like 10 to 12 years. Like
10 to 12 years.
Yeah.
Is
if you ask me like what does it look like in 20 years? Yeah, we'll probably have a couple barrels that are gonna be like 20, 23.
Yeah.
And we'll release a small amount of those, but like that's just something right now where we're saying like, all right, this is a really good barrel, or these are good like 6 barrels. Let's put those off to the side for long-term aging. They might be pulled from in, whatever at age 10 or 12. They might be held on to for longer.
Yeah. And we've talked about like blending with wine. Does that happen at all in the spirit world?
Not with wine, like directly with wine. We'll do some like finishing in certain barrels, like the Isla Khalifa, the cherry wood single malt.
Yeah.
So this is finished in port barrels. Well, I can't say port because we made it, so it's actually like a fortified wine. So and so we make a white port and a fucking white fortified wine and a red fortified wine. So an Albarino based, and we arrest fermentation at like 7-8 bricks, bring that up to about 19.5, 20% alcohol, and then we age that in barrel. We did that just to season the barrel so we could finish one of the spirits off, and this is the spirit we went with. We also have our Zinfandel fortified wine that we use too, and then like the brandy itself, we finished that in Belle Glos barrels. And the trick there is like right after you rack your barrel, because you don't want to let that wine like sit in there too long. It might go sour, might get oxidized, and like ruin the spirit. So it's like the day we rack out of that barrel for the wine for the blend, we send it to the distillery to get filled up and finish its aging for a couple months.
Okay.
But yeah, little tweaks like that like I think do kind of round things off, but like there's actually not any addition of any wine to the product. It's just the remaining character that's in the wood.
That's in the wood.
In the grains in the barrel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And then how about the process with the whiskey, or I mean with the
like that's just straightforward. We don't do any finishing on that. So both the rye, the Griffin and Grain rye and bourbon, both of those are like very straightforward. They spend their lives, in barrel, and then they're single barrel. So at the end of it, we're tasting through and being like, all right, well, which barrels are ready to go? Which ones, like, we got our rye is 4 years, our bourbon is 5 years, and so you got kind of like where are you at with these barrels? What's ready? And we'll go ahead and pull that barrel and then bottle it directly.
Yeah.
And then you got all your markings and stuff in the back, like what lot number, what barrel number, what batch number.
These are sick. I always love like your packaging. And
that's what she said.
The kind of story. Is that what she said?
I mean, it's not a lot, but it's okay.
It's a nice package. Is that what she said? I mean, it looks good. It's a nice size bottle.
It's a nice size one. Yeah. No, yeah. So the packaging, like, you always want to tell a story.
Yeah.
But it's also got to have some pop and like charisma to it. And I know there's like this minimalist. We talked about this on like one of the previous podcasts.
Oh yeah, I already know.
Dude,
that
I
you don't
fucking
like
hate minimalism. I mean, I'm not a maximalist, but like
I'm cool. I mean,
I'm more of a traditionalist, but like I also like you add some like modern elements into traditional stuff, and like that's really cool.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where these packages are actually. Like this, you look at that bottle, and I know there's a lot of people that can't see this, but like it's got these scallops on the shoulder. This looks like something you'd find in a saloon from like 1860, right? So I was looking at it, I was like, okay, I love the traditional aspect of like this whiskey bottle, but it's like, how do we bring it into like the 21st century? And then started playing with, like this screen printing and bringing in some elements that were like, visually intriguing and almost like optical illusions.
Yeah.
And then applying that to the package. So this is actually a printed on optical illusion. And then we put our paper label over the top.
I was almost thinking maybe it could be like one of them magic eye things. If I just like stare at it long enough, am I going to see like some griffins flying? Oh, wow. I'm tripping out. No, that really stands out. And I thought...
So again, minimalism, like...
Yeah,
if you like buy like the cheapest little bottle and like, you just put like the most... like the smallest decorations on it that you can.
Yeah.
Simple label, your government warning, and whatever else. It's kind of like, I don't know. I don't really enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's got to be something to like pop.
It up.
So I mean, dude, like Pappy, right?
Yeah.
Pappy's a big popular one, but they're a pretty fucking simple package. But they've earned the right to maintain the simplicity.
Yeah,
because
you can't fuck with that.
I don't think when they created that, they had the option of having like something really crazy, right?
Yeah.
So, you end up with a very simple package that's remained for 100-something years.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Is that? I mean, that's like one of your favorites, isn't it?
It's good. I wouldn't say it's worth the price, but it's good.
Oh, okay.
It's a big swinging dick bottle. That's like, that's where you're like, I'm gonna show off to my buddies. We're having a cigar, and I'm putting my Pappy 23 on the table, and they're gonna be like, "Oh my god, you have Pappy 23!
Oh my god, you got Pappy!
You're the coolest guy in the room!"
Wow, so good. The bottle's kind of minimalist, but it's good. It's a lot of money.
It's a good spirit, but it's not like I mean, I've found a lot of stuff that's like $100 to $200 that's really good. That's that's a fraction of the price of Pappy.
So when you because obviously going through this process, what is it for example when you were having this single malt whiskey, right? What was the flavor profiles that you like to see out of something like that? Like even when you're trying others, like because we already know that you personally are just saying the smokiness of things is kind of sets you off because of your wine experience.
Yeah. I wanted like to honor the tradition of Scotch in a way, right? Mm-hmm. And then even like some of the Irish single malts. But then I also really like the Japanese single malt. Like there's some really good ones out there. And so I was like, what do we do to like bring this in the middle? Because Japanese single malts aren't like all that smoky. Some of them are, but by and large they're just like really clean, classic, and they're beautiful. And so I was like, how do we get that in the middle, but then have kind of our stamp of what people know of us from our wines? Yeah. Which is like a little more mouthfeel, a little richer, a little more of like a sweet barrel tone, that sort of thing. And that's kind of what we evolved. So a tiny touch of smokiness, really big mouthfeel. Like this is a really impactful single malt. Like it hits your mouth and you're like, holy shit. That's like, it almost coats your entire mouth. It's not just like this searing heat. And so that's kind of what we aimed for, and they're pretty boisterous. Yeah. I mean, we just got like some really good. I know 3 of the 5 got like a double gold in this spirits competition we were just in. I don't remember what it was called.
Oh hell yeah!
And then the other 2 got golds, which was fine. Yeah. They should have been fucking triple gold. I don't know. No, they don't have a triple gold.
And then I could think that with rye, you could get a lot of different flavor profiles, usually from different ryes that you take. What was your kind of focus on that?
You think of like dusty. When I think of rye, I think of dusty. Yeah. Like in a good way. And so I want to get like some of that earthiness, that like dry earthiness. Yeah. Which I think is driven really by the rye. And Merced rye is really, I think, good about that. It almost has like a slightly herbal sort of thing too. And then you can sweeten that out a little bit. This actually has some yellow corn in it too. I forgot about that. So you can sweeten this up a little bit, like sweeten the mash up a little bit with some corn. And it comes through as like a good, well-balanced spirit. But you want to, like again, trying to stay with the tradition of what people expect out of a rye. Yeah. But then putting our thumbprint on it with how we make all of our beverages, so to speak. That if people taste these in a lineup, they're going to be like, what the fuck is that? You like, that's I like that. I like, but it's but that's a real thing. How do you differentiate yourself? So like you're at a fucking spirits tasting, yeah, and there's like 100 producers of rye, and you got consumers walking around and they're going all the ryes first, and it's like they're all good, but then all of a sudden you come to like the Griffin and Grain rye, and they're like, dude, what's going on? Like I like that where people like stop and they're like they want to know more. Yeah, because it's so it honors tradition, but it's so different from the rest of what's out there.
I mean, that's kind of don't you that's like what you did, like you said. That's almost like a motto, right? Because you've done it with Belle Glos, right?
Belle Glos, and back in the day
Pinot Noir, like they were like, whoa. I mean, I'm sure that was like creating like.
Well, the funny thing is
like ruckus, didn't you, in the Pinot world?
I don't know why I get blamed for this because I didn't fucking.
You do get blamed for it.
I didn't start this, but yeah, I get blamed for this.
You didn't start it? Who started it?
So, dude, the wines that I loved in the beginning, that like late 90s vintages of like Costa Brown, Pizzoni, McPhail. Like, dude, these were some fucking
inspo.
Yeah, like I was tasting them, I'm like, that's that's a full blown style. Like that hits me right. Like I
Yeah.
like that. And so we were trying to, create a bigger style. I made plenty of shit that tasted like crappy Burgundy. Like
Yeah.
it was just thin and light, and you're like, oh yeah, we do 3 punch downs a day, and hi, I'm a boring as fuck winemaker. and again, minimalism, non-intervention, minimal intervention, that doesn't work. You're just being lazy, and you're trying to market your laziness. And you're convincing all these sommeliers, who also are lazy fucks, that
We almost were out of it.
not
We were
all of
almost
them,
out,
but the
we were almost out.
sommeliers who are like, oh my
Yeah.
god, this is so
We
delicate.
say snobby soms.
Snobby
The
sounds.
snobby
It's like,
soms.
how does it make you feel when
Yeah.
somebody comes up to you and they're like insinuating, they don't necessarily say it right out loud, but like they're insinuating that my palate is so superior to yours that I can pick up
I can tell
on
you.
these noble subtleties,
Yeah.
and you should learn, because then you'll be as good as me.
Did you come across any Psalms when you were at the Ball Rock Music Festival? Because I do want to
Any Psalms?
tell you what to drink.
No, I did not see any Psalms there. Surprisingly. No, but but I do want to finish up. But I do want to talk about Bottle Rock.
Okay, yeah.
But I do want to finish up on this point about
You did.
about why I or how I got blamed. Well,
I told you he's bossy.
I don't
He's bossy. Tell me how you got blamed, bro.
because of fucking Naomi. That's what it was. Because that
Oh,
became
man,
so
you bringing up Naomi on
because
this
it became
motherfucker.
so broad scale. But guess what? That changed the consumer's perception of what Pinot Noir could taste like.
Yeah.
And then you started seeing other producers follow suit. And they're like, oh, I guess we don't need to make these really delicate, crappy wines anymore. Like, yeah, let's go full-blown Pinot. And now there's a whole bunch of them out there. And so all the like snobby Psalms are like, oh, it's Joe Wagner that, convinced the consumers that this is what Pinot Noir should taste like. And, it's his fault. And like, dude, some of the best wines that like highly rated stuff from, Costa Brown and Pizzoni, those were like, shutout wines. Those were awesome.
Yeah.
And I don't think that what we're doing with Belle Glos is like all that much different than that same philosophy. But because of exclusivity of like these tiny producers, they just kind of lay in the shadows.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm happy to take on the role,
Well,
and
I
I'll
think
keep making wines that offend the snobs.
I think you just like to offend all around, bro. But no, thanks for setting that record straight, man, because that's true. And I think it's also to be the rebel and I say that in like the best way of like, you went with your heart, man, and you just kept pushing through. And I think we even discussed it in previous podcasts as well. Also, like you had to also deal with like the critics not accepting you, but who did accept you was the people.
Well, and that's how you always
Right,
win.
and you were like, I'm gonna keep pushing through, keep doing what I'm doing because like I know that I'm doing this for the people, and also just sharing what you want, that you're not gonna just change for.
Well, yeah, so this is
somebody
something
else.
like Psalms come up to me all the time, and
Yeah.
they're respectful. I don't know what they say behind my back, but like
They say a lot of shit.
I bet they do. I mean, and I talk a lot of shit about them.
Do you?
Not individuals, but as a whole.
Yeah.
But like Amanda McCrossan, she's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
She's a great Psalm. And like there are a lot of Psalms like that understand fine wine and that they can have their own opinions.
Yes.
But then they also gotta cater to the people that are keeping them employed, which are the diners, right?
Yeah.
And so she does a really good job of balancing that, right? And she's really good on wine education. So if you haven't seen Amanda McCrossan on like, TikTok or Instagram, she's pretty awesome.
Hell yeah.
But shit, where was I going with this?
That she's just awesome.
Well, we were
Yeah,
talking about the
that's
Psalms that. Oh yeah, so the way that they approach me. Sorry, lost my train of thought. Shouldn't start off the day with
Need
whiskey.
more shrooms, Joe. Need more shrooms.
More shrooms, please.
So you got Psalms that'll come up, and we'll have a conversation about wines. And like this just happened to me in Tyson's Corner.
Yeah.
Did I tell you about this
I don't
in
think
Atlanta?
So.
No.
Did you get jumped by a bunch of Psalms?
So we're leaving, and like it was like Sunday morning. We finished up all of our work, and then like Rachel and I go out to brunch right before we get like in an Uber to the airport.
Yeah.
And so we're at the Ritz-Carlton, which is a nice place in Tyson's Corner, and they're doing a brunch and everything. And so the Psalm is there, and so we're sitting there just getting like breakfast and whatever. And I started talking to him, and I was just like, "Hey, thanks for having some of our wines on the list. Like, really appreciate it." And he's like, "Oh, what wines are you from?" I was like, "Oh, like Belle Glos and Bowen, Quilt." He's like, oh yeah, great wines, you know, like just respectful about it. And so he's like, I introduced myself, and he's like, so you're like the winemaker. I was like, yeah, I'm owner winemaker, and he's like, you know what you did was so smart because you tied into the consumer palate of America. And that's the line I always get. That Psalms think that I like engineered these wines to tie into the consumer palate of America. Like, yeah, I mean, I think we all grew up on the same shit, right? Coca-Cola, pizza, Cheerios, Raisin Bran, Eggo waffles, whatever. Like all of these things. So we all kind of have an Americanized palate, whether we want to admit it or not.
Yeah.
And so I was just making wines that I thought tasted better and tried to up them every vintage. And it had nothing to do with like, you know, oh, I'm trying to target this segment. It was always like, what do I think is good? And if I think it's better, then hopefully other people in America think it's better too and prefer my Pinots over the next guys.
Yeah.
Really simple philosophy. And that was really just being like true to yourself. And yeah, weathering the storm of the people, all the naysayers. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. You always get me on these fucking rants, man. Jesus.
No, I like it though, man. We need to hear it. We do need to hear it because I also think it's like inspirational to push through that shit.
I guess it is part of the entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, dude, can we just? Because I'm just excited, man. We had a great time at Ball Rock. Like, did you have a great time? Like,
I did have a great time.
You were there. I felt like
Sunday fun day.
Yeah, but you were. I mean, you were. It looked like you were influencing. You know, doing like
so
some selfie shots and stuff.
I'm gonna be totally transparent. I probably need to be transparent about
You're gonna
this,
be
right?
totally transparent. Oh, we love this.
I didn't think I was gonna be going to Bottle Rock this year.
Oh,
just because just like busy schedule and
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
And so they approached us mostly.
You're
like
invited.
You and the social media team. Like, we'll give you free VIP passes if, you know, you come and do some posts. And I was like, sure. Okay, like, you know, what is it? And then Sabina's like, you know, that could be worth like $40,000, right? I'm like, it's just like, this is supporting a good thing and like the community. Like, let's just do it. And so the weather was awesome. It was like a little chilly, so it's not too hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, the music, every bit of music that I saw was really good. There's one group that I missed that I found out about later, and they were fucking awesome. It's like a techno marching band. I know it sounds ridiculous.
Oh, I didn't check them out. Who
Dude,
was
it's like a legit marching band.
Uh-huh.
I'll find their name. But dude, they were like, I'm listening to it, and I was like, holy shit, these guys are good. Like, just old school, like, you know, they got baritones, they got tubas, sax, trumpets, whatever. So, highly recommend it.
Dude, I just want to say, I thought all the performances were awesome. Like I say, like one at top was like, I thought it was Post Malone. I was like to see him the first time. It was amazing.
So I didn't get to see Post. I didn't get to see him.
Oh, dude. He's awesome, man. And like the energy. He's such a humble guy, and then
he
he's
is a really
so
humble
talented, and like just gets the crowd going, dude. It was just like, you know, I love it too when you're just at the concert and you've heard these songs before and jammed on them, and then
so did he go more like rap tone or pop tone or like because he can go country tone too. Like that guy is really talented.
And he can also bring in like hardness into it, like
yeah,
you know, like
so he mixed it all up.
Some good like what?
He mixed it all up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that was great. It was just totally just moved the crowd with the whole vibe, dude. I always felt like it was moving with him. Lizzo, of course, was amazing. You know.
Yeah.
She was dude. She again.
Do we made her? Made her a bottle, a custom.
We did make her a bottle, which I wanted. So we'll throw that up. A little
post-production.
Quick video of like yeah.
Okay, so what did anything come of that? Did she post anything on that, or did she talk about it all?
We have yet to hear.
But did she fucking get the bottle at least?
Yes. Well, we gave the when the people from Ball Rock picked up the bottle.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And so we'll show it like here, but it was a beautiful bottle, right?
Yeah.
Let's give this bottle of wine to Lizzo. But first, we gotta get it all engraved up. Woo! turned out pretty dang well, but I think we're missing one final touch. Joe, take it away.
Damn, Ryan, that right there is a work of art. I think I know exactly what it needs for that final touch. I just hope I don't fuck this up. I just took a DNA test, turns out. That's 100% Belle Glos for Lizzo. Well, Lizzo, I hope you like it. I'll see you at Bottle Rock.
We got to collaborate with Ryan. He was like awesome, talented guy, and did the etching for Lizzo, so we could like drop his tag as well.
Yeah, he did.
And
he did a really good job.
And then kind of handed it off to you.
But my job was to not
dipping.
fuck it up with dipping. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, but Art, I want you to go back to Muete.
Yeah.
And I just want you. I want to get one little clip of this because I want to talk about like music for a second, right? So I appreciate all kinds of music, but I really like it when people actually use instruments.
Yeah.
So I was in band. You were in band too, right? You played trombone.
Yeah.
I played trumpet, baritone, trombone, whatever, tuba.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
stop
you want me to
bragging,
go down
bro.
the
Why are
list?
you fucking bragging, bro?
You know what I was always
played
jealous?
trombone? I played trombone,
I was always
dude.
jealous of you because you could play the fucking strings like guitar, and my fingers are too goddamn fat.
You got sausage
to
fingers,
play.
but you can still, dude. You could have overcome that, bro.
No, I couldn't. I tried. Dude, I tried to play guitar. I tried to play
Why
violin.
didn't you play bass, dude? You could be
cello.
like Chad. Hey, Chad, you got sausage fingers?
I don't know. Does
actually,
he?
He's got, yeah.
He acknowledged his fingers. Is that something?
He just kind of held him up.
Chad, that
I was
doesn't
like,
mean
wait.
eat your fingers.
Yeah. All right, so
Yeah, let's get like, I don't know if you can pull something up with these guys, but like some of their live stuff is just, yeah, like go with that one right
wait, I
there.
want to see if I can bring something up for them.
You just got to hear this. Like, it's legit.
Oh, yeah.
How much better is this than like having it all like, done on a computer?
Yeah. AWOL Nation.
Yeah. I can jam to this. And it's funny because all my kids get so pissed. Like, I listen to a lot of instrumental stuff, and my kids get all like, Dad, this isn't, even Rachel, like, this isn't music. I'm like, this is fucking music. Like, you guys all focus too much on the singer.
Dude, that's sick. And also, I remember also when you,
So that was
some podcasts ago, where you were recommending the symphony.
oh yeah, the On Trio, that one.
Yeah.
Or the or the Vitamin String Quartet. One of
Yes,
those?
the Vitamin
that one,
String
yeah.
Quartet. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Dude, this is good, man.
yeah, I'd see these guys live. Anyway, so I missed them, but like that's one thing about these festivals. Like, if you didn't know anything about that group, how are you going to know if you even like the music? And like, there's fucking 4 stages going on at once, and like, you can't just get around to all of them. So it's almost like they should have like a little quip, like it's like who's playing, and instead of like the headliner in big letters, and then the next like 2 in the smaller letters, and then like everybody else in like 10-point font.
Yeah.
Like, have them just on a list and like get like one of their top songs and like you hit play and just be like a little sample. So you could be like, oh yeah, I'm into that. I'll go watch them. I've never heard of them before, because that's part of the festival thing. Is like, I think
checking out new bands, discovering.
Yeah, you
and
want to discover shit.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
also the whole culinary aspect of it, I think, was really well done. I mean, and then
But
supporting a lot of local foods.
But Bottle Rock is a very different beast than like other festivals, right? Like this one is steeped in food and wine, which is super cool and very different.
Yeah.
But yeah, the food scene was off the hook.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like everybody and then some. Like everybody in Napa seemed to have like a fucking pop-up and doing great food.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem like there was enough. Like everybody had a line.
Yeah, dude. Everything had
What was your longest wait?
my longest wait for food?
Yeah.
Well, actually, dude, I probably like 15 minutes.
Okay. That's not that bad.
I mean, there was like, you have to like you also have to, you kind of manage it, right? Like, you start to kind of feel when like the big stages are going to be done.
Yeah.
Then there'll be like a rush.
Yeah.
So you start to kind of get your schedule, and you gotta really be strategic.
You dive in. Like I mean, when we were there,
and then you also know what places like are like there's usually more areas that will be busier than others, right?
Well, like we had, you like see the flocking of people like moving back and forth, right?
Yeah.
So like, it wasn't even the main stage. I think it was the Samsung stage that we were over there. We were at the VIP deck over there, and then
the VIP deck, man, how was it?
It actually was pretty sweet. Like I mean,
Yeah.
they got some like good wines. Like everything's a little bit upgraded in there.
Yeah.
You got a view. The only problem was like there were a lot of people that I knew in there, just because like it's a lot of people from the wine industry.
Like I knew,
and
all the people
I
at
just
VIP.
wanted to be like a little bit high and a little bit drunk and like chilling and hanging out with
A
Rachel.
little bit?
And I couldn't be myself.
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah,
Just a little bit.
I think you were like macro dosing.
and so we're over there, and like then Wu-Tang's starting up, right? And like
Yeah,
it was
dude.
the
Oh
whole,
man, so
the whole field was dead for a moment, right?
Yeah.
And literally, like as the Wu-Tang sign like comes up like a bat signal, all of a sudden it's like 5,000
hold it
people
up.
crammed into this one area, and I'm like, all right, it's time to get the fuck out of this area, and yeah. So that was, but that's how it goes.
Yeah.
They manage through like where all these people get to, where they're all moving through, cycling through the top artists. But there
Yeah.
are so many good artists that are not on the main stages. You're like but this is cool with the culinary and the wine thing. Like you walk around and you're like, you can tell this is a little classier
Yeah.
than most music like festivals.
Yeah.
It's a great bridge between a wine event, wine and food event, like Aspen Food and Wine, but then with music. But people, I mean, there's not like the big focus on wine, but you can have that. So, anyways, I think they did a great job.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's been really coming up, and I've been hearing more and more about other people like I think there's like festivals like in down south like Manhattan Beach that are even trying to do the same thing, the same setup as what Ball Rock is. This whole like elevated like wine and food and combining that with.
Because overall, like the food and wine festivals, Bottle Rock is the inverse of what the new food and wine festivals are, and they're both great.
Yeah.
But the new food and wine festivals, like we talked about Charleston in the past, Aspen Food and Wine, like whatever, like they're food, wine, spirits focused, right? That's why people go there. But then there's also like all these like lounge spots, places to chill, tons of live music.
Yeah.
But that's not the focal point, right? The focal point is the products that are being tasted.
Yeah.
Food and beverage. So Bottle Rock's the opposite, where you're actually going for the main focus of music, but the auxiliary components that tie it all together of food and wine.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool to see. Like, I mean, there are not bookends, but like there's got to be a middle ground too, where you kind of like augment the food and wine piece, and then also like maybe downplay a little bit on the music, but not so far as like Aspen Food and Wine, where it could be something really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think this year, I think it was a good balance of incorporating both. I didn't think that really one took away from the other, and I mean, but like, I think it really gave you like an opportunity to. It's great to like be able to go and experience, say, like Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like it's like you're a big band of fans, so you're gonna go there, but then you get to go before and experience like what the culinary has to offer, because they were amazing, by the way. Dude,
there you go. So
Flea
Live
is
Nation acquires majority stake.
So cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Flea.
You're right. So Live Nation.
God damn, man, he's put some age on, huh?
Dude, he's badass.
I know he's badass. He's still badass.
Dude.
I just love the looks on his face.
I know. Dude, he's funny, man.
All right. Well, what do you say? Are we going to jump into horrible bosses?
We got to get into horrible
we gonna
bosses,
close this
dude.
out?
Let's close it out with some horrible bosses.
All right.
And yeah, we'll go with that, and we can have some updates and let you know what Lizzo thought of Joe's personal.
I'd actually like to see her just
celebration bottle.
open that bottle and pour it all over her body.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
I would not be opposed to that.
That would. Yeah. I'd
do a wine shower with her.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do
We
that
could set that up.
professional wine shower, right? That's what you mean?
It'd be a professional. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
There'd be other people there. There'd be no hanky panky.
Yeah. Well, okay.
By the way, I don't think I'm her type.
How is it that let's just didn't want to make it weird. Was just trying to lead you. You don't take my leads. Can we jump into horrible bosses?
You're such
By
a
the way,
horrible boss.
if you got a horrible boss or a boss that like does not listen to you and is a rebel without a cause. No, actually, this is just for horrible bosses. Horrible.bosses@coppercane.com. Send us your stories. We like to read them here at the end. Learn from them.
Learn from them and criticize them.
Criticize,
All right, here we go.
Whatever.
First one. I was receiving an unusually large order in a furniture store, and it was way more than should have been able to fit when my boss just started screaming at me that I was lazy and getting nothing done. I'd been working my ass off for days getting ready for this order and trying to organize for all that was coming in, but apparently that wasn't enough for her. I was the only person that could get the job done, and after about 20 minutes of being insulted and screamed at, I'd had enough. This lady had done this to me way too many times at this point, and I just snapped. I finally looked at her and screamed, "Do it yourself then. I'm leaving. I quit." I could not believe I did that. I was shaking from being so angry and in total shock that I just quit my job like that. She was fucked at this point, though. Tell us more. Because she only had a few other guys to do the job, and they were fairly new. Shockingly, the next morning, I got a phone call with an apology and a promise to leave me alone for this project if I'd come back. In the end, we got the order, and everything went pretty smooth once she let me do my job. I did end up quitting one other time a few years later because I just couldn't take her abuse anymore. By now, I was her assistant manager, and her fits were now constant and relentless almost daily. I didn't have another job lined up, but my wife had a great job at that point, and we could afford me being jobless for a bit. This time it wasn't abrupt. I gave her and the owners of the company a written resignation, including why I was leaving the company because of her. Just a little bit later, I got a call from one of the owners, and so did she. This time I ended up with a raise, and she got reamed. Things got a lot better after that, but I still can't believe that I quit my job twice and was asked to stay.
Okay, I have a couple questions for you right off the bat.
What?
About this story. First, have you ever had an employee like yell at you? Like in that guy. He kind of snapped, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever been in that experience?
No, even,
Really?
even in contentious like situations, I've never had somebody snap on me. And
I'm very surprised.
I think I've snapped on one person.
Oh, but you snapped?
Well, it wasn't a snap. I'll tell you.
I'm glad we could talk about this situation now, Joe. I'm glad you brought it up.
I know. When you snapped on Art?
It was more
The Wi-Fi!
Art, why don't you come in the room? We'll have a little sit down. Chris can be our therapist. And no, they got a little reaming because it was. I showed up with me and two other people, and we had this whole we were pulling all this stuff for fermentation, right? We were just prior to harvest, and we had everything in storage, like all of our pump over pans, all of our irrigators, all this stuff, pumps and everything, all in storage. And the guy that was supposed to have put it there and get it all cleaned up and take care of it hadn't done a fucking thing since the year of the harvest before. And so I called him up. I'm not going to mention any names. Called him up, and the place was a disaster. There was shit laying all over. It looked like it never even got put away. Maybe he went in there and some stuff fell down or whatever. And it was just everything was a mess.
Yeah.
And so it was just what were you thinking? You can have that conversation. You don't be you're a fucking dumbass. You suck. You don't deserve a job. That's going to, it's abusive. So, and that sounds like what Karen here was doing.
Yeah.
To this to this young fellow
Karen.
at the furniture store.
Yeah.
But yeah, so no, it's how do you have the conversation and have the firm conversation?
Yeah.
And it's all just about basic communication. But a lot of people don't learn that shit, especially in the society we live in now, because everybody is so quick to race to the most dramatic approach and conclusion.
Yeah.
So once you learn how to deal with that, then you're going to be way more effective in your job.
Yeah.
If you're just running around yelling at people, then, well, you're going to get people to yell back at you and quit.
Yeah, and in that situation, snap on you.
That's what
because
happens.
They can't take it.
So, I mean, don't hire Karens, whoever the owners were. That'd be a start. I would recommend that. When I do interviews, I'm only like, I figure that the interviews that have been done before me have gone through all of the credentials of the people.
Yeah.
I'll read the resumes and whatever else. But when I sit down and have my interview, I'll like, we'll talk about some of the stuff they've done and like whatever, but like, I'm more just about culture. Like, if I get to read that you're just like, you're a problem causer, you're dramatic, you're not part of the team environment, then, and you could be like the most qualified person for that position, it's still going to be a no.
Yeah.
Because you don't want, we've had toxic people in the company before.
Yeah.
They find their way out.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, so far.
And I think in this situation, I mean, he obviously quit, like he said, like a couple times, and he was brought back. So it's kind of like, what's the common denominator here? Like, if you have an employee, it sounds like they knew that he was worth keeping. And, did they look at, and I guess they had to kind of like look at her
as looking at the ownership. It's like they could have taken a step back and been like, okay, do we need to fire Karen?
Yeah.
And replace Karen with the assistant general manager, which is this guy.
Yeah.
And that could have been done.
Yeah.
And you could have changed the whole company culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And last question was, have you ever had someone quit and then you end up hiring them again?
That's a good question. Yeah, we actually just did that. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
All right. So,
everybody deserves a second chance.
This is funny because this is where like
you can find your paths again.
This is where you get people's like personal opinions involved, and like some people are like just stalwart, like, no, you left, you're done, don't ever come back.
Yeah.
And I don't look at it like a second chance. I look at it like you left, you got other experience, you tried to follow what you thought was going to be the better path of happiness to get whatever balance you were looking for in your life. Totally appreciate that. And so like, you rarely ever leave on bad terms. If you steal or hurt, like whatever it is, you do something bad, then you're dead to me. I never want to talk to you again.
Yeah.
But when somebody's like, no, this is more in line with the, my lifestyle and what I want to achieve and whatever else, and I want to try this new thing, it's like, great. Like, thanks for being here. Give us a call if you're ever thinking otherwise.
Yeah.
So bringing this person back was more like, part of it felt good because it was like, she recognized like, we have a great culture, we have a great working environment, and that was kind of cool to see, like, that's one of the reasons she wanted to come back.
Yeah.
And then she enjoyed her work that she was doing here before, and so I look at it like somebody may have strayed off the path. Like, it's like kids, right? They may have strayed off the path for a little bit, but they're going to come back, and all those experiences are going to help shape them into their next journey.
And I think it's only going to build, like, I think it's, when I say like second chance, I'm thinking like second chance at the relationship as a whole, because you've allowed the person to go out and grow on themselves, and you've respected that for them, so they can leave thinking that, you supported them in that choice and allowed them to go out and free. And it's just like, if it's gets back into like, there's some feisty shit, but you know what I mean? Like love, right? If you love someone, you gotta let them go, let them do
let them
thing.
go, and maybe they'll come back.
If they come back, it was meant to be, that kind of stuff. Can we get on that?
My grandparents,
yeah,
like 36 years of divorce, hated each other's guts, they're remarried.
Yeah.
It happened. That's not happening for me on my first wife. All right.
On that note.
So, hey, I'm glad you finally left the job, buddy.
Yeah.
And Karen, if you're out there somewhere, just don't be a It's not that hard.
All right. I hope you did some growing.
I hope you did some growing. I don't think you can't change people like that. I don't mean to sound sexist, but like, women are really hard to like kick those old habits. I think men this is a funny, we could talk about this in the future. Men, I think, do a better job of adjusting their personality to accommodate the situation. Middle-aged women, never. That are just like, no, this is who I am. Take it or leave it. Fuck you.
Okay, so next time on Go With Your Palate, Joe will discuss how. So
I actually want to. Before we do it, I want to do some research into this because I think
you
there's.
should do some research. Like, talk to your wife, bro, before you come on talking about this nonsense. You get us all fucking killed.
This is all gut feel. This is all gut feel. This is just through some life experience.
Some gut feel. Check your gut, dude. Get that micro dosing on fucking chest. Let's get out of here, man.
All right.
Please
until
tune
next
in.
time.
Until next time. If there is a next time.